All right. Guess I need this. I don't have a lavender. All right. So, first thing you want to do, Mike, where are you at? Mike Wilson. Earlier today, he said the best word I could ever imagine when you're communicating our business, when you're communicating our products to people, it is this word. Write it in your notes: conversational. People like to be talked to, not talked at. Does that make sense? And when you're conversational, it's back and forth. It's just simply, hand gestures. And I've met with Jeff. Jeff taught me a lot in this business. And one of the things that he taught me was just be in conversation, right? Greg Cap says, make a friend. And so when you're talking to people like you're having this conversation, you are using your hands, you're nodding, you're getting them involved with the conversation. And so what I want to show you is when I sit down with a client, the first thing I'm going to ask them is, and I say, listen, if you had an opportunity, if you had a chance to be able to put money away and save it without having to pay taxes as the money grows, right? And then when you're at the position to take it out as a distribution, to never pay taxes on that money, is that something that makes sense to you? And they say, yeah, well, how's that possible? I say, well, let me show you how this works. First words, because you're closing already. When you said, would that make sense to you? They say, yes. And let me show you how this works. That's a closing statement. I'm going to show you what we're about to do for you. Does that make sense? Say yes. Yeah. All right. You guys awake? Yeah. All right, let's get it in. So I say, so the first thing, let's say that you've got an example. I've got $200 a month. You've got $200 a month that you'd like to save. You say, Trey, out of this $200, here's what I have to do. I have to protect my family just in case, because I just never know when that's going to happen. But with all of the money that's left after the cost of that insurance and making sure my family's protected, whatever's left, put it in an account for me because I don't plan on dying anytime soon. And I say, okay, that makes sense to me. So what we'll do is this. I'll give you the $200. We'll put that $200 up here. And that's going to be a month. And the carrier that we use, they're going to call that target. Because on a target, you're not going to hit a bullseye every month, but you can go higher, you can go lower, but it's that flexible. You don't have to have X-ray vision to hit it perfectly every month. So out of that $200, when they receive your deposit, another closing word, not premium. When they receive your deposit, they're going to put that money and put it in this example in 3 buckets. The first one's small. The second one is rather large. Hint. And the third one's kind of right in the middle. Okay? So the first one, we call it premium expense, just so you understand what that means. This is just an example, but that just says when they receive your deposit, that department needs to process it and utilize it. So let's say they use $7 of that in the first bucket of that deposit, which gives you a carryover of $193 here to the larger bucket. This bucket stands for cost of insurance. Now, let's say in this example, hypothetically, you got $250,000 and it's up here on the shelf. And the reason it's on the shelf is because we know for an absolute fact, would you agree, that you're going to need life insurance someday. Is that right? Yes or no? Yeah. Buying in, right? We're tying them down. We're doing trial closes. But you just have no idea when that's going to be, do you? So that makes sense to have that on the shelf. So the upkeep for that is about $50 a month. No big deal. Then over here, your carryover is $143 to this bucket, which is monthly administration. Most companies in the industry, it's really just for customer service, accessing your account online, all that stuff. Most companies in the industry, about average $10, let's say, okay? But the bucket you care about the most is down here. And that's where this bucket comes from, and that's where the term cash value life insurance actually comes into play for you. Because every month in this example, you're saving $133 every single month. And everything that you can squeeze, Michael, into this particular bucket from day one, it's 100% tax-free. Makes sense, doesn't it? Yeah. Now, for my money, I think this is probably, for the right person, the best thing on the planet. Would you agree? Yes. But wait, there's one more. This money is guaranteed to grow. It's got a floor of about 0.75%, and it can grow all the way up to 15%. And the reason why that's such a big range is because, let's just say that the S&P, let's use that as an example, over the course of the next year, you start your plan today. So when we start today, January the 8th, next year, January the 8th, your account, let's say the S&P does 9%, all the money, Mike, that you've been able to squeeze in this bucket gets a 9% credit. And then the next year, you're going to put more money in, it's going to compound. And the next year, let's say it does 19%. Well, your ceiling's at 15, which would you say is a pretty good rate of return? The reason why they put the ceiling on is because you also have a bigger benefit. When the market does negative 40 or 50 like it did in 2008, you remember that and how that felt? Well, you're still getting almost 1. So you see here, you can't lose. So what I need to know basically is essentially how much do you want to put into this every single month? How much of the available assets that you've got can we squeeze into this so you can save money, never have to lose it, protect your family, and have something to be able to draw from tax exempt when you're done? And they say, well, how much can I put in there? Well, I'm glad you asked, because based on your budget and your financial needs analysis, you said you had $200, but I uncovered about $700 a month. I suggest we start with about $500, right? We're going to overfund it and explain that to them. But how many of you think that if you did this a few times, you could pretty much master it?
Yeah.
It answers all the objections. It gives people the incentive to be able to want to do more. And then you close it with this. Once you do that, and you say, no, I got to ask you, because you've never heard this. If you asked 20 people and showed them this, do you think most of them would be at least interested?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So what you're telling me is that by doing what I'm going to teach you how to do, you can't even lose. How'd you like to do this about 2 or 3 times a month and make an extra $1,000, $1,500 on top of what you're earning right now? And they're like, wow, I love it. You guys like that?
Yeah.